We are continuing with our On Their Trail segment where we evaluate the biggest blunders, misstatements, and cheap shots of the campaign, primarily doing Obama versus Hillary. Our panel is back with us. So far, it's basically been 3-3. Moving on to number 2 tonight, Barack Obama, and this one really gets me, continues to hammer home what has fast become a staple of his stump speech. The problem, it's not accurate.
The way to win a debate with John McCain or any Republican who's nominated is not by having the Democrats nominate someone who agrees with him in embracing the Bush-Cheney policy of not talking to leaders we don't like.
Clear misstatement by Obama. He's enjoying a lot of applause on the campaign trail for what, in my view, is twisting Hillary Clinton's words from this debate in July, where Clinton said this about meeting with foreign leaders if elected president.
I will not promise to meet with the leaders of these countries during my first year. I will promise a very vigorous diplomatic effort, because I think it is not that you promise a meeting at that high a level before you know what the intentions are. I don't want to be used for propaganda purposes. I don't want to make a situation even worse. But I certainly agree that we need to get back to diplomacy, which has been turned into a bad word by this administration. And I will pursue very vigorous diplomacy, and I will use a lot of high-level presidential envoys to test the waters, to feel the way.
All right, so Stephanie Miller, look, this seems to me, and I've said this before, and I'm going to do this one again, that what Obama's trying to do is use his own misstep early in the campaign, where he started talking about how one of the first things he's going to do in his first year is he's going to meet with the leaders of North Korea, Iran, etc., and he's trying to twist it to make it seem like Hillary Clinton is saying, I won't meet with any of these people.
Well, you know, Dan, I don't think it was a misstep. I mean, I think that anybody who has lived through this George Bush administration thinks we need not just a whole new way of doing things, a whole new way of thinking. And I think what he's saying is he's not afraid to meet with anybody. He's not afraid to talk to anybody.
No, that's not what he's saying. He's saying that he's saying we don't want someone. I think that is what he's saying. But it's pretty clear that he's saying more than that. He's saying we don't want someone who's going to continue the Bush-Cheney policies, suggesting that that's what Hillary has said, and she didn't say it.
Well, no, you're right on that. I mean, she is not, I mean, let's face it, either of them would be worlds better than George Bush. Well, but I think that, you know, what he's saying is that the George Bush doctrine of not talking to people we don't agree with, you know, Stephanie, is not working. So we got to try a whole new way of thinking.
That's not what she said. The point that Hillary Clinton was making is, to meet with Kim Jong-il in North Korea is not like us meeting during the Soviets during the Cold War. When you're talking about a small, isolated country, them having a meeting with the American president is a big deal for them. You don't promise that unless you think you're really going to get a lot out of the meeting. That's not Bush-Cheney. Ultimately we would want an American president to meet with others.
But wait a minute, that is the George Bush policy.
This is the problem with having people who are committed to one candidate
until they agree with us. No. That's the point of negotiating, is you see what you have to talk about.
Yes, but negotiations start at lower levels. They don't start right away with the President of the United States.
Tony, I'm going to give you the final thought on this. I'm out of time, though. Number 1, tonight, we switch away from Clinton-Obama for a laugh or not a laugh. John McCain, with a somewhat pathetic attempt at stand-up comedy today in Boston, things got a bit awkward when he elicited very little laughter from the crowd.
So I am compelled to tell the story of the 2 inmates in the state prison in the chow line, and one of them turned to the other one and said, "The food was a lot better in here when you were governor." That's not a joke you can tell in some states in America. After this meeting, if you would like to talk with either Senator Graham, we will provide translators for any of you that need to find them hard to understand. I find them hard to. Anyway, do you know the difference between a lawyer and a catfish? One is a scum-sucking bottom dweller. The other is a fish. And so there goes the lawyer vote again. But thank you all for. I thank all of you for
jokes on that one. All right, I got to wrap it up. No humor, always better than bad humor. Sorry, I'm out of time, Tony. I wanted to come to you on that one. Thanks, Peter Beinart, Stephanie Miller, Tony Blankley.